I heard my name. It was a very different experience. I cannot explain in words कि अच्छा हो गया नहीं हुआ वाला मतलब it was very different. I could see people jumping in joy, tearing. I couldn't decide my expression at that point. The only thing I knew, I called up my mother. The first thing that I did, I called up my mother. I told her. She was very emotional about it. She was very happy about it कि हाँ ठीक है लग तो रहा था पर ठीक है अब कॉन्फिडेंस आ गया हो गया फाइनली ये वाला पीरियड चला गया खत्म हो गया.
सो हेलो जी, आप सभी का स्वागत है मेरे चैनल पे. सो आई एम एन अपकमिंग SWE इंटर्न एट अ माइक्रोसॉफ्ट एंड आज इस वीडियो में हमारे साथ अनुष्का है, क्रैक्ड एन इंटर्नशिप एट वेल्स फार्गो एंड शी इज़ ऑल्सो द हार्वर्ड वी स्कॉलर इन हर फर्स्ट ईयर एंड शी इज़ ऑल्सो गॉट एन गूगल जनरेशन स्कॉलरशिप and she also done an internship in her second year. So we will talk about all this and how we will talk about her journey of cracking an internship at Wells Fargo. So firstly we will take the introduction of Anushka. So Anushka, please introduce yourself to everyone.
So hi everyone, I'm Anushka and I'm currently a third year student at IGTTUW and I'm pursuing my BTech in Electronics and Artificial Intelligence. I'm an upcoming intern at Wells Fargo and I'm a Generation Google scholar. I'm passionate about tech and yeah, that's about me.
Okay, so when did you started your programming, like learning languages of Java or C++? Which languages in which you started?
Initially, I started my coding journey in Python. I had started that in my school. In 11th and 12th, I had IP as a fifth subject in my CBSE with my towards my 12th board. I started coding in Python, and later on, when I towards my second year, when I started appearing for interviews or for OA, for my DSA, I switched to C++ later.
Okay, so basically you started in a Python, but you switched it to the C++ language after that in your
Yes.
second year. Okay.
Yes, for
So
data structures, I did in C++.
okay, so you are also the Harvard V scholar in your first year. So tell about that also.
Yeah, so in my first year, there were a lot of things that were coming up. There were a lot of applications, and we see our seniors doing stuff around. So this was an application that came to my notice that Harvard WECode is the largest student-led conference, women engineers conference that is happening. So I filled up its application. It required my resume and some essay questions were a part of the application process. I went through it. I wrote all my essay. I prepared my resume for the first time at that time because I was freshly in my first year. I went through all of the resources and everything. That particular year, the scholarships were happening in an online mode because COVID had just passed. So that was the first year Harvard WeCode was happening in an online mode. Otherwise, it used to happen in person at Harvard's campus itself. So it was a 2-day long conference. It was in different time zone. I had to wake up during the night and listen to speakers. There were company sessions all around there. It was a very insightful experience and was the first time that actually generated a curiosity inside me to listen to people around and open wider in perspectives and what all around us it's present, what all technological advancements are actually happening. The first time I attended company boot camps and sessions, also got a t-shirt from there. It was shipped all the way across. It was very boosting thing in my journey as first year.
Okay, so just like you also got a Google Generation Scholarship in your second year. So tell about that also.
So as in second year, we were progressing through it. We could see there are different applications that are open at different times. Generation Google Scholarship was something that I knew previously of. So this is a slight of an incident. Accidentally, I had applied for it in my first year also when I was not eligible. So when it came up again in second year, I was very curious about it. That this time I need to write my application and everything very seriously. This was also a resume and a essay based application, but then it was at a much higher stage. So Generation Google Scholarship is provided by Google to specific women engineers around the globe. I was an Asia Pacific scholar, so across Asia Pacific there are 55 around that number of women candidates who are selected and given us grant of $2,500 to pursue their career in computer science and guide more people around it.
Yeah.
uh, yeah.
Okay. So just like you have also done an internship in your second year, so how you got that opportunity from a LinkedIn or from any freelancing website? How you got this? Because it is the major problem that most of the second year student did not get an opportunity to do an internship in a second year. So how you got this?
So when towards the near of the end of second year, towards our fourth semester, I was looking out for opportunities. I was searching Unstop and every other application that comes our way. We used to fill it. So this specifically, I mailed my resume to the person in charge, and I applied through a referral for this particular internship. And then we had some rounds of interview, and that's how I got into the company. I was the only second year intern that they hired. Mostly the company takes in third year and final year students as their intern. I was their only first year intern that provises, and was very different atmosphere working online and then actually going to Bangalore, shifting there. There's a whole office setup and we talk to everybody. There's a whole team of developers working towards a particular goal. So that's all. That was a very different experience, and I think that added a lot to my journey overall, also towards my development, to able to think properly, to be able to grasp new technologies, and giving me the confidence that you can learn any new technology in a given period of time. Because whenever you enter a company, mostly the tech stack that they're working on is maybe not something that you would have worked on prior. So the internship taught me a lot about learning every new thing in a stipulated period of time. Particularly in Move and Sync, I worked with the DevOps department. So I worked on AWS and Chalice, and these were technologies that I even hadn't heard of, or I didn't know how to code into. But given a few weeks and a lot of supportive environment there, any company, any intern that goes into an industry, there are people to support you and to teach you, to guide you. So they took me along with all the steps. They were patient, and then we learned new technologies. I worked on a individual project there, and yes, I made it through.
ओके सो बेसिकली आपने इंटर्नशिप भी की थी अपने सेकेंड ईयर में सो आपने डीएसए को साइड बाय साइड कैसे मेंटेन किया और अपने इंटर्नशिप के लिए कैसे प्रिपेयर किया लाइक कौन कौन से रिसोर्सेज और स्ट्रेटजीज आपने फॉलो किए थे
So this period of first and second year is a very chaotic time. We are flooded with resources and many guidelines, maps कि ऐसे करना चाहिए, वैसे करना चाहिए. So I had a hard time navigating between them, which one to choose, which one not to. But one thing I think that was an edge to me, or something I was confident about, but I knew how to write code, because in 11th 12th I've written code in Python. That was something कि ठीक है, लैंग्वेज शिफ्ट होगी अगर सी प्लस प्लस में भी कोड करना है, पर लॉजिक सेम रहेगा कि कैसे कोड करते हैं, प्रॉब्लम कैसे समझते हैं, वो चीज़ पता थी. तो इन द सेकेंड ईयर इट सेल्फ देयर वाज between first and second year. First, I took a course from edX. It was a free course on data structures and programming. It was in C++. I was in a perception कि C++ तो करना ही पड़ेगा, Python में DSA नहीं होता है, which is also not true, because I did a course for Python DSA also as a general elective for my semester. तो there through all that I know कि data structure होता क्या है. I know कि linked list कुछ होता है, I know कि graph कुछ होता है, but I didn't had in-depth knowledge towards my first year about it. I knew it is something and that needs to be done. In my second year, there was a program by Coding Ninjas that was held in our university by the IT department, most probably. It was an offline course that happened, and there was an instructor that used to come and teach us about things and what all needs to be done there. So that was my first formal form of learning DSA, and where I could solve my problems in person. I could navigate on how to solve things, how to not. This is the time I was very confused between Python and C++, because there was some concept that are very familiar in Python, but then some concept that I only knew in C++. So my instructor told me कि नहीं, दोनों languages साथ साथ नहीं चल सकती, अभी एक पे stick करना पड़ेगा तुम्हें. So I chose C++ because Python was something which was very which was used more in ML and AI sorts of application in development. When in further you need to go into industry, you need C++ or Java as a backend language. So I stick to C++. I then started doing it from scratch there, and learned all my data structures. It was not very in format, but then I would say whatever problem is given to me, I was able to think about it. I build my thinking capability from there कि navigate कर पाए कि अच्छा करना क्या है, कि लगेगा क्या, थोड़ा सा स्ट्रक्चर आप बना पाओ. बिकॉज इनिशियली एवरी स्टूडेंट हैज दिस प्रॉब्लम कि सोच तो पा रहे हैं, समझ आ गया, बता दिया किसी ने, कोड नहीं कर पा रहे. तो पहले आप समझ पा रहे हो, दैट इज ऑल्सो स्टेप फॉरवर्ड. Afterwards, when my internship started, during that period, I had qualified for Cisco Boost program also. So it was hard time balancing things कि DSA करना है, Cisco Boost भी करना है, फिर अपना internship भी की भी तैयारी साथ साथ करनी है. I had qualified for Girl Script Summer of Code also, but then I was not able to give time for that. DSA and Cisco Boost was something I had on higher priority. So I practiced some of questions there. I used to be revising concept that I don't lose touch at all. कि बिल्कुल समझ ही नहीं आ रहा कि अब क्या हो रहा है. थोड़ा सा टच में रहना है. But then towards the end of my internship was the time that I flew into DSA with full force. That this is ending. I knew my placement season is coming up. So every concept, every data structure needs to be written and done properly. You need to know every concept from scratch कि अब इंग्लिश ढंग से सीधा बनानी हो तो भी कैसे करना है, लाइब्रेरीज कौन सी हैं, वो वाली चीज़ें उस टाइम पे करनी शुरू करी. एंड आई वुड से टू एवरीबडी हु इज़ प्रिपेयरिंग फॉर देयर जर्नी कि यू शुड नॉट बी डिस्करेज्ड कि अभी तो हमने आ रहा है, ये टाइम वेस्ट हो गया तो आगे भी हम नहीं कर पाएंगे उसको. कि मेरे साथ के बच्चे हैं, उन्होंने पूरा 2 months ऑफ देयर व्हेन आई वाज ऑन इंटर्नशिप दे वर रिगरसली डूइंग DSA एट दैट टाइम. ठीक है, एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम दे आर अहेड ऑफ यू, बट दैट डजंट मीन दैट यू कांट डू इट एज वेल. सो wherever you start, you need to start at full force. ये सोच के कि अभी इतना नहीं हुआ तो आगे भी नहीं होगा, you should not stop yourself. तो I started that time, though I was way backwards from rest of my class, but then I started at that time. I started practicing questions. I read a lot of documentations and interview preparation guides on the internet, how coding platforms work, how things work. And this was also something that I learned in my first year. So I knew programming. First year, May there were some competitions like Codekaze. Google had a program, Google Code Jam, Kickstart were around that corner at that time. Right now, they have stopped those. But that I just participated in them. In Disney, it didn't give me an edge of कि rounds clear हो रहे हैं, आगे बढ़ रहे हैं, rank आ रही है. But then it familiarized me with the atmosphere कि भाई coding platform चलता कैसे है. क्योंकि जब आप स्कूल से आते हो तब ये भी नहीं पता होता कि भाई फंक्शन में रिटर्न हमें इसी तरह कैसे करना होगा, वेरिएबल दिया होगा, टेस्ट केसेस होंगे किसी चीज़ में. वो जब आप ऑनलाइन प्रैक्टिस करते हो तो पता चलता है, वरना तो अपना नॉर्मल VS कोड पे कोड कर रहे हो. तो वो सारी चीज़ें उसी टाइम पीरियड में सीखी, एक एक करके सीखी कि चलो अभी पहला ऑनलाइन असेसमेंट आ गया है, कुछ भी हो रहा है तो उसमें आपको ये नहीं देखना कि अभी मेरे को ग्राफ्स तो आता ही नहीं तो मैं दे ही नहीं पाऊंगी. जो भी आता है, चाहे हो सकता है आधे का क्वेश्चन आ जाए, यू नीड टू बी कॉन्फिडेंट इन वट एवर यू आर डूइंग. जितना करा उतना करके जाओ, वाली चीज़ थी. एंड आई थिंक दैट वर्क फॉर मी.
So, as you cracked an internship at a Wells Fargo, so as it is a on-campus opportunity or a off-campus, and is there any eligibility criteria that Wells Fargo has put?
Okay, so Wells Fargo was an on-campus opportunity for me that came through our college TNP department only. In the initial application process, I think there was a cutoff of 6 CGPA and above, and 60% in 10th and 12th board. I think that was the minimum qualification criteria. And after that, there were several rounds. There was an online assessment round, and then there were 3 rounds of interview.
Okay, so there are basically one round of OA and basically 3 rounds of interview. Okay, so basically in a online assessment, how many questions were asked and what is the time duration basically to solve that question?
So the online assessment had majorly 3 parts to it. There was a coding round, there was a business aptitude or reasoning round, and there was a English grammatical type of a section to it. So each section was timed differently, and we had to attempt the sections in a particular order only. So like if there's a business aptitude round, I can shuffle the questions in between, but I cannot switch to the coding round immediately. I need to first complete one section, then move to the second section. So the business aptitude and reasoning are general questions related to it. It was an MCQ type of a round. And then the English and grammatical had fill in the sentences and essay, answer the question based on a reading assessment, that sort of questions. And then there was the coding round, which had two questions to solve with specific test cases, and that's like how general online assessments are. Those were the three rounds of the online assessment.
Okay, so basically, as you said that after the online assessment, there are basically three round of interview. So how was your interview experience? Like, what type of questions were asked? Is there only technical round or HR round also?
So for Wells Fargo, the interview happened 2 to 3 days after the online assessment. We were given the list of shortlists, and there were majorly three rounds of the interview. There was one technical round. There was the second was technical plus HR sort of a thing, and third was purely HR round. So in the first technical round, they had some coding questions. They had mental reasoning questions, puzzles sort of questions on how to. They're given us that they'll give you a situation, and then you'll have to navigate things around puzzles. जैसे मेंटल रीजनिंग के पजल्स होते हैं उस तरीके के क्वेश्चंस होते हैं रूबिक्स क्यूब एंड ऑल दैट रिलेटेड टू दैट coding questions में they can they asked me things about specific data structures, and then small problems to solve. They asked me about trees, and there are also basic questions regarding just loops and strings and sort of things. They just want to test how are you able to think in a given situation. So I think a tip here would be to just ask questions to the interviewer and clarify more things that you want to. Technical round had very brief about my projects and past experiences. Most was basically on how my DSA is and how my mental reasoning and aptitude is sort of thing. For the second round, which was technical and HR, it was very focused on my resume. So each and every line, each and every word that I've written on my resume was asked in it. They had a bundle of my previous interview round also. They asked me about that also, how did it go, and they make they do that to make you customize with the environment and relaxed in that sort. They asked me about every skill, what had I done in it, every project, what all did I use, how did I do it, why did I make it, and my past experiences also, as I had done actual industrial internship in my second year. So that was also asked about a lot about my experiences there, what I learned there. So technical plus HR, the second round was around that. So the third round, the HR round, was very smooth, conversational sort of thing. They asked me about my experience so far, how did the interview process go. They asked me specifically about if I had any location barrage, because Wells Fargo had their offices in Bangalore, Hyderabad, and Chennai. They didn't have an office in Delhi, and our college was from Delhi, so they needed to clarify that we don't have a problem shifting there. That was one major part of it. And then there was several questions about why Wells Fargo and why our company, the typical HR questions. And it was a very fun round. I had fun interacting with the interviewer there. He was very chill, because uh, small incident there, because between the second and the third round, I was very thirsty and I went out to drink water, and in the middle they came my POC contacted me कि नहीं interview के लिए आना है, call आ गई. I went into the room while running, so I was very high on energy, and my interviewer was very calm and composed with it कि ठीक है, relax and everything. There also I talked a lot about my Bangalore internship, and it was a very conversational and relaxed round.
Okay, so we will move forward to talk about your resume. So what type of project you have added in your resume?
At that point in time, I had three projects in my resume. They were things that I built along my journey. I didn't sit at one place कि नहीं ठीक है resume के लिए project बनाना है. They were all which happened with some instances. Like my first project was in my first year. I done an internship with Association of Computing Machinery, IGDTUW. So there I had built a project with Python, and I had used Twitter APIs in it, and did a sort of a research project and an analysis project. So that I included there. In the second project was majorly I was part of Celestial Biscuit, and where we worked on different projects on different problem statements of the university. So the second project I had built along there, it was again based on Python, because till that time my major coding language was Python. And my third project was something that came out of curiosity, or maybe my desire to do less labor work. It was a part of society. I was asked to check WhatsApp groups regularly, so I just made a bot for it to do that part automatically. So that was something that my interviewer also was very impressed with. Ki you are applying your tech knowledge to your basic things. So I think that thing does give an edge when you have projects that actually were needed or had some reason why you built it. So I think that gave me an edge on other contestants.
So, as you cracked an internship at Wells Fargo, so when you got to know that you are finally made internship at Wells Fargo, what was your reaction? And when you told your parents that you are selected for an internship, so what was the reaction of your parents?
So the result day was a very hectic day for me. My interview had, though the interviews for Wells Fargo happened for 2 days. So they had their full time interviews on the first day and mostly all the intern interviews on the second day. But we were present on the first day also because they had a presentation there, the PPT presentation following it. So by chance, they had finished their FT interviews first. So I, along with a few students more, our intern interview happened on the first day itself, but they couldn't release the intern results till they had interviewed all the candidates, of course. So I came back on the second day. I had my installation ceremony, so I was elected as the vice president of a society that day, and I had my first event there also going on. Side by side, both the things were going on. My heartbeats was raising very high. I was juggling between कि interview यहाँ हो रहा है, event यहाँ हो रहा है, दोनों में भाग रहे हैं. And when our POC came out with a list of students, she was announcing name one by one, one by one. I heard my name. It was a very different experience. I cannot explain in words कि अच्छा हो गया नहीं हुआ वाला. मतलब it was very different. I could see people jumping in joy, tearing. I couldn't decide my expression at that point. The only thing I knew, I called up my mother. The first thing that I did, I called up my mother. I told her. She was very emotional about it. She was very happy about it कि हाँ ठीक है, लग तो रहा था पर ठीक है, अब कॉन्फिडेंस आ गया, हो गया फाइनली. ये वाला पीरियड चला गया, खत्म हो गया. All the hardships been of had been fruitful. I came back home. I attended all the event. So I was walking down my auditorium, the pathway to the stage. I could see the photos being clicked, and there people know that I had my interview. And that joy of walking down the ramp with a lot of excitement in me, ki haan ho gaya hai. Well, I think it's very exciting. I went back home. My parents had made a cake, got a cake for me. My little brother had made a card for me, and they were all very excited. We went to the temple. Very, very good day of my life, I would say.
So, congratulations for your internship at Wells Fargo, and hope so you will definitely get an PPO from Wells Fargo. And what advice you want to give to your junior who are currently in a first year or a second year? Any resume tip or any interview tip that you want to give?
Yeah, surely. The one thing that is very, I've seen a lot of people doing is they feel less confident in themselves कि अभी इतना पूरा नहीं करा है. Your journey, your preparation journey can never be complete. There's never an end point to it. So you're always learning. So whatever you have done till now is, you should have that belief that it is enough for what is coming tomorrow, what is coming today. You need to have your belief in yourself कि जितना करा है उतना आता है. So that is very important. That helps you in interviews and in assessments on anything that you appear for. Second thing I would say, listen to talks and sessions that happen. There are a lot of companies which take their PPTs, their sessions, there are a lot of industry speakers that come. I think that helped me a lot in my journey in order to express myself of how I feel and how I talk to people. Because that is something I'd done consistently across my college journey also. Whatever session is happening, I used to listen to it. And trust me, it never goes to waste. It never goes to waste. The half hour, 1 hour, 2 hour that you invest in a session, it would broaden your perspectives. Even if it is something that you already know, it will help you some way, it would reiterate it. In case of Wells Fargo also, Wells Fargo had came for Industrial Interaction Week in our university prior. in the past year. I was there in that session. I knew what their model is, how the company works. I had met people at that time there. So I was able to interact with them in the interview also. I could list out people ki हाँ ठीक है मैं इनसे मिली थी, and that is what they advised about me in terms of casual talk. So that builds a connection with your company also, and that gives you an insight about everything that you do. So listen to people that talk, because they know things that you don't know. Speak of whatever you know, and keep looking out for opportunities, keep looking out for anything that happens around you. Participating does not waste your time, or even if it doesn't give you anything in terms of winning that competition, it does give you an experience that would help you the second time that you have to win. Nobody wins in their first time. It's a series of losses and then a win that actually contributes to it. So never hold back from participating.
Yeah. So thank you so much Anushka for coming here and sharing your experience. It was really amazing talking with you and बहुत मज़ा आया और मैंने तो बहुत कुछ सीखा and hope so आप सबने भी बहुत कुछ सीखा होगा. So thank you so much for coming here and
Thank you.
अगर आपको ये वीडियो पसंद आई हो then please hit the subscribe button, share with your friend and do not forget to like this video. See you in the next video. Keep coding, keep learning, be consistent. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.